Flinging is now patched in Lumber Tycoon 2 with this new update. If you've ever had your items flung by an exploiter, you know just how painful and heartbreaking it can be. Months of progress and organizing can be ruined in just seconds if some exploiter decides they want to ruin your day, but this new permission makes it an absolute headache for exploiters. We'll get into that, but first there's a few other things that have been added in this update, and I just want to go over those real quick. So the permissions tab has just changed. First of all, you can see that the visits from anyone permission is now removed from the top bar here, but don't worry, there's a new global permission tab where you can not only find the visits from anyone permission, but two other brand new global permissions as well. So the first one is obviously just the visits permission, which behaves just like the visits from anyone permission that we used to have. With it on, people can visit your base by default, and essentially that means that anyone can visit your base even if they themselves don't have the permission ticked under their player name tab. You can see when selecting an individual's permission, any global permission you've selected will be grayed out, indicating that it's overridden with the global permission, and you can still check or uncheck that permission that's grayed out. It will remember that you did that, it just won't do anything until you disable the permission in the global tab. And that's basically how it works with all of the new global permissions. So the sit in seats global permission means that when you turn it on, you no longer have to individually add the sit in seats permission for each individual player whenever you want to pick up people in your car or whatever, or if you just want people to be able to sit on your chairs on your base. This new global permission is going to save you the headache of having to individually add the sit in seats permission for each individual player whenever you want to pick people up. So yeah, that is a definite W for this update already, but finally there is a brand new permission that shows up both in global permissions and in each individual player permission. And this new permission is actually quite possibly the biggest exploit patch we've gotten in years. Essentially, if you turn it off for a player, that player and all of their items will not be able to collide with you or any of your items. They'll pretty much just phase through. And this applies to vehicles, items, logs, stuff you've grabbed in stores, and pretty much anything you own that isn't anchored. So that means that someone without this permission can't collide with your items, but can still collide with your structures. So you won't be able to phase through people's buildings, obviously, but that means that anything they might be able to mess up originally can no longer be messed up because they can't collide with your items. So yeah, the fact that collisions are now a permission means that if you have permissions off for people, they won't be able to knock things off your shelves in your shop, but it also means that exploiters will now need you to enable the collisions permission before they can fling your stuff. Hey, can you give me the collisions permission? No, go away. I just need it for a thing. What thing? Come on, man, just please. Okay, fine. Not my axis. I did not see that coming whatsoever. No one could have possibly predicted this terrible atrocity. No. Alright, you know what? You're getting turned into single units. Get wrecked. And while I would recommend that you keep global collision permissions off, there are still instances where you may want to enable collisions for specific people. For example, if you and your friend are using long planks or something. So you want to make sure that collisions are on for things like that, but if you just enable collisions, you still phase through them and their stuff. To properly enable collisions, both you and your friend need to grant the collision permission to each other. You need to make sure that you and your friend are mutually allowing collisions, otherwise you and your items still won't be able to collide with your friend and their items. So once you are mutually allowing collisions, the collisions will just work normally like they always have. The player will be able to knock your stuff around, so do this only with people that you trust. This is really buggy right now, by the way, so this is what happens when players are mutually allowing collisions and my main is allowed to drive my alt's vehicles. Everything phases through the truck, so be careful with your items. I expect this will probably be fixed within the day though, so I'll try to keep a pinned comment down below updated on what the current bugs are with this update and which ones have been patched. Items were phasing through vehicles when collisions were off and drive perms were on, but now since you're granted collision permissions when driving, there seems to be the opposite issue for some reason. Defautlio is actively working on fixes for bugs like this though, so I don't expect these bugs to exist forever. And in terms of other global permissions, I'd recommend just enabling visits because that will allow people to explore your base and shop, so you'll get more sales and stuff like that. And if they don't have the collision permission, they can't really ruin your base anyways, so there's a lot less concern about them being there. But don't be hesitant about disabling it later on if people get annoying or something new springs up. It's too early to tell if there's a bypass. Defautlio has been fixing a few, and I'd also recommend enabling sit-in seats if you found it annoying to have to allow that permission to individual players in the past. And then global collisions, keep that off at all times. You do not want everyone to be able to collide with your items. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this new update. It's the first update that has been logged in changelog for the past year, so this is big news. And of course, it will be quite a game changer that will make it less of a necessity to play in private servers. You still have to worry about lag and things like that in public servers, but for the most part, your items should be safe as long as you are careful with who you allow collisions for. And like I said, there could be bypasses, so exploiters might be able to fling your stuff still. I'll try to keep the pinned comment updated with the latest information on that. But with that said, I'll see you in the next video once it's out. See ya!